Episode 10 of The Bad Batch is entitled Common Ground and shows a bigger picture as to what is happening in the galaxy in the wake of the Galactic Empire. The episode opens with an Imperial occupation on the planet of Raxus, which was the capital of the Confederacy of Independent Systems during the Clone Wars. I found this to be a pretty shocking way to open up the episode, showing that the Empire has no remorse for anything and is just openly moving in and occupying new systems in the galaxy by force. Showing us again just how ruthless the Empire really is, regardless of where they are in the galaxy. And honestly, I thought it was a great episode because of that. Seeing the Separatists' view of the Empire is very interesting. After all, the Empire is what the Separatists thought the Republic was to begin with, so now they really have something to fear, and having Senator Avi Singh of Raxus as the main focus really helps. Meanwhile, the Bad Batch decide they are going to try to lay low for a little while to avoid the bounty hunters that are after Omega. They of course don't get the chance because Sid is already ready to send them off on another mission. This mission is an extraction, and they are to get Senator Avi Singh off of Raxus before the Empire gets what they want out of him. Omega is suited up and ready to go on this mission, but Hunter says that she's going to have to sit this one out. Omega obviously doesn't agree with the choice, but I think it told for a better story. Every week we have the Bad Batch fall into some kind of trouble that requires Omega to get them out of it. Now, I don't have any problems with this because I believe it is an important part of her character, but having her out of the picture for this episode left the Bad Batch to make decisions for themselves that would otherwise put Omega in danger. But she has definitely rubbed off on them, so much so that at one point in the mission, Hunter orders Tech and Omega to fall back, but Tech has to remind him that Omega isn't even with them. Meanwhile, Omega has to make the time back at Sid's hideout. Sid, however, isn't exactly excited to be babysitting and ends up making her feel worse by saying things such as, "Maybe if you weren't so helpless, those 4 laser brains wouldn't have left you here with me." And at first I thought this was a sort of tough love moment, trying to get Omega to show that she isn't useless. But the more I think about it, the more I think that Sid was just truly tired of Omega just moping around and not doing anything. That is, until she realizes that Omega is wildly good at holochess and is able to play a few games for money and even earn enough to pay off the Bad Batch's debt to Sid. Back on Raxus, the Bad Batch also have to struggle with their own personal beliefs as they choose to put their differences aside and accept the job to protect the Separatist senator. Despite the fact that all clones were created specifically to fight against the Separatist armies, they still come to understand that it is in everyone's best interest to fight against the Empire, which we get that exact moment after they rescue Senator Avi Singh. He almost has second thoughts about leaving because he doesn't want to leave his people. He should be fighting out there with them, but Echo reassures the senator by saying he should live to fight another day, which I think is a huge comment coming from Echo, who is probably the one clone who lost the most because of what the Separatists did to him while he was imprisoned. But after rescuing the senator and making their way back to Sid's hideout, Hunter gets upset with Omega after walking through the door, because bringing in a massive crowd to watch her play holochess isn't exactly the definition of low profile. But Sid thinks that Hunter should take it easy on Omega, and it seems that she's actually earned some respect for her after discovering her new talent. Hunter finds it surprising too and decides to make it up to Omega with one game of holochess. If Omega wins, then she no longer has to sit out on any missions. I'm pretty sure Hunter knew going into this that he would lose anyway, but wanted to take this test just to see what Omega is capable of from a tactical point of view. Overall, I thought this was a really great episode. I know some people weren't overly excited with it, but I don't know. For some reason, the setting and the characters really stood out to me and I really enjoyed it. I liked seeing the Separatists and how they feel towards the Empire, and I loved seeing how the Bad Batch were willing to set aside their differences to do what they know is the right thing by helping the senator escape. But with only 6 episodes left, this show is going to start getting really rocky. But that's all I have to say about Common Ground. But what did you think? Did you like seeing Raxus? Did you think it was a good idea to leave Omega behind? And what do you think is going to happen next with the 6 remaining episodes? Let me know all of your thoughts on this episode and more in the comments down below. Be sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't, and remember, the Force will be with you, always.